You're welcome to today's webinar on training transfer effectiveness. Our webinar series on training transfer effectiveness. And today is the second one for this year. Yeah, I'm so glad. From the feedback we had in last week was that a lot of people asked that let's talk on the needs validation process. So welcome, so glad you are here. We will forget introductions. We already know you, Femi. You were here last week. So introductions were necessary for those that were just coming for the first time. I don't need to introduce myself already. You already know that. Housekeeping, of course, please mute your microphone. If you want to speak, you can raise up your hand, use a chat box, type into the chat. And we already know Femi, so we're supposed to take a poll to know those that are in the webinar. So we already know Femi, and from the information we got last week. So we'll move ahead with all that. And session objectives. So by the end of this webinar, based on your needs, which was last week where we got from the feedback form, that you wanted us to talk about the needs validation phase. The needs validation process, please. That's process, not phase. The needs validation process. So by the end of this webinar, you should be able to explain the needs validation process. Then you should be able to plan your next line of action after this webinar. What you either stop doing, start doing, and continue to do. And that will be the destination I'm taking you this night. What's our roadmap? We're going to be doing polls, Q&A, take Q&A, and we'll talk about your next line of action. Now we move to the why factor. What's your why for being in this webinar? Do you want to type into chat, Femi, your why factor for being in this webinar tonight? What's your why factor? What has brought you here again? That you were here last week and this week you're here again. You could as well have said, I'm not coming this week. It is a week work day. I'm tired. So what's your why factor? Why are you here tonight again? You can unmute your microphone if you don't mind, or you can type into chat and I'll read it.
Okay, I think I'd rather just say it. For me, it's continuous learning, especially because it's a need, and I see an avenue to meet that need, especially at this time. So it's something I'm already using. So I'm just trying to learn more. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Femi. Thank you. Okay, so let's move ahead. And I said the training transfer effectiveness journey begins where if we had new persons here. So I wasn't sure if we're going to have new people or not. So I just added, I like being proactive. So, and that's why I said it begins. So for you, Femi, that is here, it continues. What exactly is training transfer effectiveness? So for every webinar, before I start the new, whatever I want to say for that day, I would want to go back again to talk about training transfer effective, what exactly it means, to kind of remind the people in the webinar what exactly it is, so that we are all on the same page. And we also put this on our YouTube channel. So for people, some persons go to the YouTube channel to look at it, and it might just be their first time they're watching it, so they could always understand what we are talking about. So what exactly is training transfer effectiveness? Now, if you notice, there are three words there: training effectiveness, training transfer, and training transfer effectiveness. I'll take that again. There are three words there, very important words: training effectiveness, training transfer, and training transfer effectiveness. Now, what is training effectiveness? So training effectiveness, it has to do with the extent or to the degree to which training is successful in producing that desired result. I'll take that again. It is the extent or the degree by which or to which training is successful in producing the desired result. Now, for instance, maybe your company wants to do a training on communication skills. And one of the training objective is by the end of the training or the workshop, the participants should be able to define what communication is, Secondly, they should be able to differentiate between the various forms of communication. Thirdly, they should be able to list the 7 C's of communication. Now, that was the training objective. Now, if by the end of that training, those participants are able to do those 3 things you set out to achieve at the beginning of the training, you would say that the training has been effective. The training has been successful in bringing up the desired result, what you planned it to do. I plan to have these 3 objectives to ensure that all participants are able to get these 3, and they were able to do it. So you say training has been effective. Now, training transfer. What is training transfer? Training transfer is the extent to which the trainees, I prefer calling them trainees are the participants. So the trainees in the training can effectively apply, is it knowledge they acquired in the training? Is it skills they acquired in the training? Is it some desired behavior that they acquired that they would demonstrate at the workplace? So it is the extent to which the training participants or the trainees apply what they learned on the job to improve their performance. I'll take that again. Training transfer, just from the word, it is the extent to which trainees effectively apply those things they got. Is it the knowledge? Is it the skills? Or the behaviors, the desired behaviors they wanted to demonstrate in the workplace? If they are able to apply those things in the workplace, on the job, to improve their performance, that is what we call training transfer. Application of the knowledge, the skills, and demonstration of those behaviors in the workplace to improve performance. Beautiful. So now we have gotten what training effectiveness is. We have gotten what training transfer is. Then what is training transfer effectiveness, which is what I am advocating for. I am not just advocating for training effectiveness. I am not just advocating for training transfer. I am advocating for training transfer effectiveness. And what does that mean? It is the extent to which the application of these things I've talked about, the knowledge, the skills, or the behavior, consistently, I will take that again, consistently leads to improved performance and business impact in the workplace. So consistently, not one-off. So it's very possible that someone could go for the communication training or workshop, comes back, applies it maybe for the first month, applies what he or she have learned on the job, and there's improved performance. And maybe the second month, the person got tired. or the person got tired and the person is not doing it again. As training, it's not complete. So I am advocating for the consistency, consistently doing it. So training transfer effectiveness is the extent to which the application of learned knowledge and skills or demonstrated behaviors consistently leads to measurable performance improvement. Take note of that word, measurable performance improvement. And when performance improvement improves, what happens to the business? There is business impact in the workplace. So it goes beyond just training transfer. It goes beyond just training effectiveness. It goes beyond what people are applying, whether they apply what they've learned or whether the training was able to achieve what it was set up to achieve. No, what I'm saying is, and what I've been advocating for is that the application continues, consistently continues, and produce tangible and sustained results for both the employee and the organization. So that is exactly what training transfer effectiveness is. And so we'll move into what we have for for today. Femi, please feel free to raise up your hand or type into chat if you need to ask a question, or you need to come in, or you need to have an observation. Thank you so much. Okay, this is what I've just talked about. What exactly is training transfer effectiveness? Now, just look at it. Training effectiveness versus training transfer versus training transfer effectiveness. You see where we started? Training effectiveness measures learning and engagement. Training transfer measures the application on the job. Then what does training transfer effectiveness does? It measures the sustained. That word is very key. Definitely, Femi will definitely share the slide. I don't know, did you get the last last week's slide? Because we shared last week's slide. Did you get it? You can type into chat if you want to. We shared the slide, so you definitely get it. So then the next stage, where we are moving to, where we want organizations to get to, where we want employees to get to, where we want HR practitioners, L&D practitioners, where we want them to get to, even the L&D consultants and trainers. So this webinar is not just for the HR practitioners and L&D practitioners. This webinar also cuts across. It also is going to help the L&D consultants and the trainers. It will help them to be able to serve their clients very well. So that's where we are going to. So training effectiveness versus training transfer versus training transfer effectiveness. Our end game for us, for me, for our business, for our company, M Brand Consulting Limited, it is training transfer effectiveness. Now let's move on to the needs validation process, which is what was asked for last week. Now, there's nowhere you will see the needs validation process. This is our trademark. This is our IP, our intellectual property. This belongs to M Brand Consulting Limited. Now, as a result, I do a lot of research personally, and because of my consulting work and the clients I work with, I try to put myself in their shoes, listening to them. I'm always trying to find what can we help? How can we help these people? How can we help these people? How can we help this? Okay, I can see Femi said he got the recording link. So Samson, just take note of it, please. Those that attend the training, we will send the slides to them, please, apart from the recording link. So we said, how can we, I keep saying, how can we help those people? And that's what makes me to keep innovating and being creative. And before we end this, I will tell you the various things we've done. We've innovatively come up with, which we are going to trademark. So that's where we started the process to trademark some of this things. So the needs validation process is our own trademark. Check online, check everywhere. You will not see anything like the needs validation process. Now, what is the needs validation process? I found out that a lot of organizations, when they want to start, if they want training, they do needs analysis. I know about TNA, training needs analysis. I teach it too, because that's one of the areas when I teach for the IFC, International Finance Corporation. So when I say I teach for them, I facilitate for them. I'm one of their global facilitators. So I facilitate for them. And one of the things we talk about is training needs analysis. We try to do the needs analysis, and so I know about that, but this is called the needs validation process. And what does this do? Before training, and I'm going to give you something very practical. We are working with a client, and we have used this on our clients. We find out people just come and say, maybe from sales department, and the head of sales just says, I want to train my people on customer service, or I want to train on negotiation skills. I find out that they are unable to negotiate with clients, and next thing, they come to HR or they come to L&D. HR manager or HR officer, whoever you are, just takes it. Okay, negotiation skills. Okay, start looking for where they will do negotiation skills training. No, it is a no. The first thing you should do when anybody comes to you for a training, and most times it could come during the year, or most times it's towards the end of the year, when after the performance appraisal, and people the managers are drawing up the things that they feel that their people need to be trained on. That's when they come up with all those training needs. Do you understand? That's when they come up with all those training needs. So now the needs validation process is a structured strategic assessment. I'll take that again. It is structured, and we structured it so well. It's a structured strategic assessment conducting before implementing any training intervention, to ensure that the organizational challenges are accurately diagnosed and addressed with the right solutions. So we found out that organizations say the issue is training, and we found out that really the issue was never training. And I'll give you a live. So this client you are working with is a live one. Then I was discussing with one of my a colleague, Christopher Howell. And Christopher shared with me, Christopher said that some person, when I was discussing with him about this needs validation process, he was like, wow, Sandra, this is awesome. That a lot of us don't do the don't even do this. That there's something, you really have something here, something going here. And he shared with me, he said he had a client that they needed training. He did the training, right? And it was wonderful. They gave him feedback, all those five feedback they give the trainers. It was awesome. He said, and I think 3 months down the line, or a month, I can't remember, so I don't make a mistake. He went back to them and was so like post-evaluation to find out how it's going. I said, how, Chris? That the training was interesting, but really that was not, we had fun, we enjoyed it, really did well. That was not what our problem was. It was like, excuse me? Say our problem was benefits. It was benefits. We needed benefits, not this training. And he was shocked. So he said, Sandra, so I've become better. So he learned on that and he does it better now. So we coming up with this, it was like, wow, this is addressing what we had. I did better and changed and said to do this. So the essence of the needs validation, which is the first thing you must do if anyone comes to you. For instance, you're in an organization and someone and they come, we want a training on time management, we want a training on communication, want a training on performance management. Do this first to ensure that really the issue is a training intervention, because it could be a training intervention, it could be a non-training intervention, it could be two, it could be a blend of both training and non-training intervention. Now, so what this process does is it prevents misaligned training investments. You don't waste money on training that will not do anything, that will not add value, that will not translate to anything. So it helps you to validate, really, is training really the best intervention, or are there other alternative interventions that we could use? Non-training interventions like coaching, non-training interventions like mentoring, non-training interventions like job rotation, non-training interventions like job aids, non-training intervention like job redesign. It could be that is a redesign of the job, or it could even be is to transfer the person to somewhere else, another department, that the person is no more interested in that again. It could be a whole lot of things. But what we find out that is the panacea to every problem in a lot of organizations, what people do, the panacea for them is training. Anything, I have a problem, training. I have a problem, training. I have a problem, training. Can we stop that? Can we stop it? Yes, and I mean stop it. Can we take a pause? Can we take a chill and find out really is training the problem? Is training the solution to this issue, to this problem, to this challenge we are seeing? It could also be structural changes even. It can also even be that the leader is the issue. So it's not training. So if you can't train the person, you're wasting money and wasting time. The person that needs to change is the leader, the boss, the manager, the supervisor. That's the person, the line manager. That's the person that needs to change. That something has to be done about. It's not training. And you just gonna send the person on training, waste company money, waste the person's time, waste the trainer's time, waste everybody's time, and waste money. So that's what we came up with, and we said needs validation must be the first step for every training need that comes up. Now we have what we call the key pillars of the needs validation process. The key pillars of the needs validation process, and let me go to it. So these are the key pillars of the needs validation process. We have validation. First of all, you have to validate it. And what does this do? This determines if training is the appropriate solution, or if it's an alternative L&D strategies. I've already named that. You gather insights. So you're going to be talking to the training sponsors. Now, the training sponsors are those that are asking for the training. You're going to be talking to the leader. The leaders could also be the training sponsors. You're also going to be talking to the people that are supposed to attend that training. You're going to be talking to them too, and the essence is to uncover the different perspective. Is this really what the issue is? Enough for us to identify what's the root cause of this performance gap. That's insight gathering. Then the third one is strategic alignment. Okay, Femi, I see your hands up. Please, Femi, unmute your microphone. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm wondering, I'm thinking before I validate,
Okay.
shouldn't inside gathering, because how can I validate whether it's training that is required or non training intervention if I've not gathered information, you know?
So
So I'm
now the
just
valid.
wondering.
Okay,
Mm.
good. So the validation, we call it the needs validation process. It's a process. You're going to see it. The first process is to have conversation with the training sponsors. We're going to go to the steps. So it is in that conversation you're having with the training sponsors, you're taking notes. There you are the performance. So I tell HR and L&D. So when I say, because it depends on who is handling the training aspect. It's either HR in some organization, it's either L&D in some organization. Be performance consultant so that you ask performance questions, ask critical questions. So in the process, we have the validation. This, we are not saying the first step is validation, second step is inside gathering. No, we did not say that. We are saying the key pillars. So you can take it anywhere. You can start with strategic alignment. You can start with inside gathering. You can start with validation. Anywhere you want to put it, that's fine. So it's not a step-by-step thing. It is saying these are the pillars. Okay, I see your hand. Thank you very much, Femi. So you understand. Great. Then strategic alignment. Excuse me. You need to align to ensure that whatever purpose, whatever business priorities, whatever measurable performance outcomes we want, whatever organizational goals we want, that it is linked to it. Is it training? It is linked to it. Is it non-training intervention? It is linked to it. Whatever must be linked to the business priority, must be linked to measure performance outcomes. If you don't link it, you're just wasting your time. So these are the key pillars of the needs validation process. Now we go to why do we need the needs validation process? Why is it essential? Why is it essential? Let me ask at this point in time. What do you think? Chidima, welcome. I see that you joined in. Welcome. So is anyone, Chidima or Femi, do you want to try? Why do you think we need the needs validation process? Why do you think we need it? From just the little I've spoken at the top of your head, why do you think it's important, it's essential, it's important? Do you want to try?
I mean, I think you've spoken to it a lot because you want to guarantee a sustained behavior, that is aligned with the business objective. You don't want to return on investment really, and you want to I think for me it's just to guarantee that you have a sustained behavior, that supports business outcome. It's very important. Otherwise, you'll be using Panadol for something that needs antibiotics, something like that.
Antibiotics, yeah. Thank you so much, Femi. You're right on the money. Okay, Chidima, do you want to try, or maybe I should just move ahead? Okay, if you want to try, can raise up your hand and type into chat. I could call you. Femi, you're right on the money. Let's not start wasting time and wasting money. One of the essentials or importance of the needs validation process is, one, it eliminates training waste. Unnecessary training programs. Haven't you seen people that have gone for training programs and they're like, why did they even send me for this training? Why did they send me? HR, they've started again, they're at it again, they're looking for my trouble. Why did they send me for training? I don't need this training. I have heard because I've been facilitating for since 1999, right? So I've been facilitating for a long time. So I've heard from so many people, both formally and informally. And so some persons, they don't feel they should not be in that training. So let me share with us some of the reasons why we need the needs validation process. One is it eliminates training waste. Stop unnecessary training programs that do not solve the real problem. Let's stop it. That do not solve the real problem. Thank you, Femi. Femi said also meet actual need of the employee. Yeah, I agree with you, Femi. Then the second one, enhances ROI and ROE. Please, ROE is not, for those that will be watching this video, it's not return on equity, return on expectations. And if you go through, if you read the 4 levels of evaluation by Kirkpatrick, 4 levels of evaluation by James D. and Wendy Kaiser Kirkpatrick, you'll see that they speak more to return on expectation. I speak more to return on expectation than return on investment. Because return on investment, you could have return on investment and yet there'll be no return on expectations. I think one day, along one of the webinars I'm going to have will be to talk on what exactly return on expectation is and what exactly return on investment is. I think I will talk on that one of these webinars to help people, because a lot of people just talk about ROI. You can have ROI and you not have ROE, and the business will still be where it is. And that's why you have organizations that are more. So ROI is more of the finance, about the numbers. ROE is the expectations. Management want to see leaders being able to coach people. That is, you cannot see the ROI yet if they don't start doing that. They start doing that and the ROI will come, because when they coach people, people become better. People are now become more motivated. They motivate themselves and they are able to add more on the job and become more effective and more efficient on their job, and that translates to that money you're talking about, the ROI. So ROI, you use figures to calculate. So let's leave that. I'm going to think of one of the days when we get to evaluation, we'll talk about it and have a difference, look at the difference. The next thing again is it prevents misdiagnosis. Just like what you said, Femi, that's why I said you are on the money. Where the problem is, for the problem, we need antibiotics, not Panadol or not paracetamol. And we are giving paracetamol. The person will get worse and the person may even die. So if we continue to use training for quick fix, for deeper systemic issues, watch what happens from time. What will happen to that organization? What will happen to that employee? The next thing is it optimizes resource allocation. And what does that mean? We direct our investment to where it's needed. Where we truly drive organizational success, we direct it there and stop directing into unnecessary things. Some persons, there are some organizations, by August, that's when they start bombarding us for training. You see training you've not seen from January to July. By August, we start, we get so overwhelmed with so much training. What are those people doing? They just want to tick the box. They will someone has told me that if I don't finish my training budget, they will not give me, they will cut it down next year. If I don't finish my training budget, they will cut it down next year. And I'm like, hey, God help us in this work we are doing. Why? That means it's just a tick in the box. It's not to add value that you have to finish your training budget. And I'm saying you see the trainings, millions coming up, that from August, the last quarter of the year. Okay, I see what Femi wrote. ROE is both ways for employers and employees. This increased employee engagement. Yes, Femi. Yes, definitely. I think I like people like you in my webinar. You're always on the money. So by implementing the MVP, organizations will gain clarity on whether to invest in training or alternative solutions or a blended approach. And what they do is that they ensure that every initiative they carry drives real sustainable performance improvement. Do not forget that sustainable. That's why I said training transfer effectiveness. Real sustainable performance improvement. Now let's look at the steps in the validation process. We have 4 steps, but we're going to just do 2 steps. I'm already checking the time so I can take questions, and I want to use the client we are working with now, give you the first and second step. We've not gotten to the third and fourth step with the client, so we'll do 2 steps now. Next week we'll continue with the third and fourth step. Now, what are the steps in the validation process? What are the steps in the validation process? There are 4 steps in the validation process. Now, what is the first step? The first step is diagnostic conversation with training sponsors. Now, this first step is to engage in those that have asked for the training. Is it individuals that ask for it, or is it teams that ask for it, or is it the CEO? So for this business we're working with, the client we're working with, it was the client that asked for, maybe what I should do is, as I'm explaining it, let me also start sharing the case study. I think that would be better. Femi and Chidima, I guess that's better, so that the learning would just hit at once.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. So the first thing, now what we did was with the clients. We are trainers, we are consultants, so we are trainers, and we are not working in like you, Femi, in the business. However, you can relate this to your business. So please feel free to stop me and ask me questions. Now, the client came to us. And the client came to us and said to us, they said that they have current challenges, and the training sponsor was the CEO. She came to us and gave us 5 challenges she was currently expressing. She said they had documentation practices issued, communication issues, reactive work culture, leadership development, and HR management. So she said she wants training on this. She said in documentation practices, they had limited use of their SOPs and checklists. In communication, there was a misinterpretations and delays caused by inconsistent communication practices. In reactive work culture, she said they tend to be reactive, the staff, to problem solving. In leadership development, she said there were gaps in understanding and executing leadership roles effectively, especially among key leadership positions. While in HR management, she said lack of a formal human resource structure, including an HR manual and policies. I read out, because I had to print it out, what the client gave us. And she came and said she wants us to give her a proposal for training on this. And we now said to her, we cannot do this. We cannot give you proposal for training until we've gone through the needs validation process. She said, what is needs validation process again? She's never heard of this. We had to put her through. I put her through and told her the importance of the needs validation process, what it is all about, and we have to go through this needs validation process before we now know, really, is it training that is the issue? And she saw with it. We agreed. So for the needs validation process, there's an amount you pay. She paid the amount immediately. We started work. That is now where we are starting from. So before we came, so I'm going to be also be showing the tools. So before we came to have this discussion with her, we have one of the tools that we share with the training sponsors. We send a pre-meeting questionnaire. So all these problems she listed, we send it ahead and ask her questions. So we developed a questionnaire we use, and we asked her some questions. Tell us things based on these things you've sent to us. What are the reasons? Like one, we said, describe the issues that prompted this training request. This, I'm just listening to what our needs validation process pre-meeting questionnaire has to comprise it. It talks about what are the observable effects of the issues on the organization. Explain it. How will you measure the success of the interview? So there are some questions we listed to make so that the meeting will not be long. People don't have time. And this woman, she's very, very busy. To even get her was very difficult. So people don't have time. So to make life easier for us, we developed a questionnaire, answer it before we come into the meeting. So she answered that, we printed that, we had it, and we now we've done that, right? So this is now where we are having the conversation with her. And now the essence of this was to understand what exactly the specific challenges were. What are the gaps? In case it's opportunity, what are the opportunities? What is driving this training request? Why did you say you wanted this training request? What was behind it? Then we try to see what are your organizational goals. This thing you're asking for, is it aligned with the organizational goals? We try to also discover what is the root cause. Why is this thing coming up now? Have you done something about it before? Like one of the questions in the let me just look at the we asked her was, just hold on. Okay, I've seen it. I said, what teams or departments or roles are most affected by these issues? How long have these issues persisted? Have any effort been made to address this issue before? So these are questions we ask. Even when we asked her that question, have any effort been made to address these issues before? She said, not yet. This will be our first attempt. So you can imagine, so nothing has even been done about it before. So that will even guide you. If it's a training intervention, that will guide you on how do we do about it. That means nothing has been done before. So it may not even be the employee's problem. They've never been trained on it. So you can see the dynamism of it. We want to uncover what exactly is the challenge. Is it stemming from, is it a knowledge gap? Is it a skill gap? Is it motivation issue? Is it a behavioral issue? Is it a systemic issue? Is it environmental issue? What exactly the issue is? Then from that, we'll now evaluate what is intervention options. That is what the diagnostic conversation with the training sponsor is. Let me show you the objective and I'll tell you what we did with the woman. The objective of this step is to ensure that there's stakeholder alignment, to validate that the appropriateness of training as a solution, and to clarify the desired training outcomes and expectations if it is training. What are the tools that are needed for this step? Stakeholder alignment questionnaire, a structured questionnaire which we sent. You send it out to the sponsors based on the specific challenges they listed. A business problem mapping template, a template that helps the sponsor clarify and define the problem that they want the training to solve. Is it productivity loss? Is it high turnover? Is it revenue decline? We map this out against behavior, against skill gap, against system, against knowledge. We just try to find what exactly is it. Then we also use, so you may not use everything. What we found out that we tell clients what we do is best fit practice. We don't do best practice. Best practice means that this is what it is the best practice for this. Rather, with our clients, what we do is best fit practice, and that's what should happen with even your employees. What will work for employee 1 may not work for employee 2, and that's why we tell supervisors and line managers, the way you handle and solve a problem with employee A may not be the same with employee B, because these are two different people. They may not have the same what's that word I say? One shoe size fits all. So yes, you don't use one shoe size fits all for everyone. So you will get all this. This may be some of the things we use. And the last one is training needs versus performance needs analysis grid. So these are various what you will use. Now let me tell you the one we use with the clients. We use the stakeholder alignment questionnaire. So you also have to know the people you're dealing with. And so in the stakeholder alignment questionnaire, we put in everything, all this mapping, we put it in just one of it. Because we found out that this woman is a very busy woman. She even told us only 30 minutes that she doesn't have time. So you also know that supervisors, they don't have time. When they are managing up to 15 or 20 people, want to come and sit down for 1 hour, telling them you're doing need validation process. They say, HR, you have come with another issue. You like coming up with things. Let it be that you are busy. You like being busy. So we are trying to find how do we streamline things and be efficient. So we just used the first one, stakeholder alignment questionnaire, which she did. Guess what? After the conversation with this woman, we found out that just with her, we've not met with her, we've not done the second process. We said we have 4 steps. The first step is meeting with the training sponsors. We found out that the issue was not what we needed. Out of the 5 things she needed training for, it was only 2. Based on our discussion with her, based on our report, because we drew up the report, and it was only 2 things. Don't forget, she asked for training on documentation practices, communication issues, reactive work culture, leadership development, and HR management. Only 2 things needed training, and it was on communication issues and leadership development. Documentation practice was a non-training intervention. Reactive work culture was a non-training intervention. HR management was a non-training intervention. So you can imagine if we went in and just started planning, get proposal and start training, what will happen? Would have entered 1 chance. We are already out of time. How do time fly? Just 1 more minute before our time is over. And I thought we would do the two of the steps today. So this is the first step. And maybe we'll stop here so that next week we'll now do step, because I like keeping to time. I don't like taking people's time. We said it's 7 p.m. to 7:45, and it's good to take note of people's time. So I will stop here on our tools for this, on the tools for the step. So Femi, do you have any question here? We will continue next week. We'll look at the step 2. The first one was having a diagnostic meeting with the training sponsor. So at this note, I think we need to stop here. Let me stop here, Femi. Femi, do you have any question? Chidima, do you have any question, or do you have any contribution? What are your thoughts?
Hold on.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's very, very practical. You mentioned something, and I don't know whether you will still speak to you. You mentioned something around what's it? Training need and performance need, and I'm wondering, is there a difference between that? It was while you were talking, and you mentioned that just at the end, and then you talked about sustained performance. When you were talking about the training transfer effectiveness. So in my head, I was thinking, so what strategy can really be used to achieve a sustained performance after training?
Femi is jumping. Femi, you've not finished. Femi is jumping.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if I'm jumping ahead of myself, but they're just questions that are coming to my mind. That
you're jumping ahead of yourself.
You speak to it, then that's fine.
Yes, in future webinars will speak to you. You're jumping ahead of yourself. So what we are trying to do is to build the foundation. And if you're able to build that, you will get the strategies are there. If you start from now, there was something you said, Femi. I don't know if you're the one that said it. You said, "Oh, okay, no, I just remember now. Is my designer that said it." He was telling me that he's building. So we have a conference coming up in November. Later, I'll tell you people about that. Is the very first conference that's never happened in Africa, in Nigeria, or in the world. Is on training transfer. It's taking place November 13 and 14 this year in Lagos Oriental Hotel, and we are the ones in charge of it. So he was saying something to me. He said that in building our website for the conference, he said, "Madam, Coach Sandra, we need to ensure that the foundation is strong. We don't want to go and buy a domain that can just cannot carry up to 300,000 things, and we now build 300,000 things." He said, "Madam, this thing will collapse."
Okay.
Yeah. So now, why did I share this? Now, what we are doing is laying the foundation.
Okay.
If you get the foundation right, training transfer effectiveness will definitely happen. So it is a whole. That's why we are doing this process. We are doing this webinar for a whole year. We want, as we are saying this, you're already checking. You're checking. So now we've talked about need validation process. Now, what I expect is that you go back to your organization now. Are there trainings you've already started? Or are there trainings you will start? Can you start that conversation immediately?
Exactly. That's my next action.
Beautiful. So I'm going to go to action. So you tell me your next action. Start the conversation. And before you start the conversation, let me give you a hint. They don't know what you're doing. I hope you know that. Now, ensure that you have a communication. That we want to get things better. We want to help you to achieve your goals, that you're talking to the line managers. We are here to help you achieve your goals. We want the best for you. And so there's something we are thinking about. So have that conversation. Don't just wake up and tell them you want to do need validation process. They will kill it before it arrives. It will be dead on arrival. Because they'll say HR is now, you've looked for another. People just like looking for things, bringing up things. So please ensure that you have that engagement at those levels. Have those engagement with those people before you start this. I see something on chat. Okay, Chiamaka Chidima says, "Well done, Sandra. I love this first step of diagnostic engagement. It provides clarity for all stakeholders." Thank you so much, Chidima. Yes, it really does. It really does. So I'm going to fast forward because I wanted you to give me. So what are your takeaways from today's webinar? If I fast forward, if I go to where I have takeaways, because I planned for 2 on the 2 steps, but since we did not do 2 steps, I don't want to keep going to what are your takeaway. So let's talk about it here. What's your takeaway? What are you taking away with you from this webinar tonight? What are you taking away? Femi, do you want to share? Chidima, do you want to share? I sincerely apologize. We are 4 minutes behind.
Stakeholder alignment questionnaire is what I would want to. I mean, it might not be as detailed structure as yours, but I intend to have this conversation because effectiveness is key, really.
Beautiful. Please feel free to reach out to me, Femi. That's why we are here. Feel free to reach out to me and we can rub minds. I can help. Samson, we can help. Feel free we can help. Yes, we'll just help you because we want you, because your success story will be our story. So we are ready to help. Don't think about money now. We've not talked about money. We are ready to help. We want to help, because your success story will be our story. So reach out to us when you want to start this. We can also give you the simplified version. You're welcome. So what we do is we bring out the I don't want to say the complex version, because there are different businesses. We have large businesses, large organizations, we have medium, but we have the simplified ones. So reach out to us. We can also give you the simplified one that would help you to kickstart and share your success story with us. And when you get hooked somewhere, please reach out to us. We are here to help you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Chidima, do you have any take away from this webinar? Do you want to type into chat? So let me stop sharing. You want to type into chat, or you want to unmute your microphone? If you can, that's fine. We will now, if you don't have, we will just end the call now. Okay, so on this note, I just want to say a very big thank you to you all for joining. Faith, your AI note taker was here, and I'm sure you will get those notes because your AI will send it to you, this conversation. Thank you for Faith's AI note taker for joining us. Thank you so much, Femi, for joining us. You've been consistent. We were here last week and you're here this week again. And I know I will see you next week again. Thank you also, Chidema, for joining us. You're all truly appreciated. And please ensure as you go back, what you've learned, you start applying. Don't forget, we say training, transfer effectiveness. I believe in application, not just talking. Apply whatever you've learned. And if you have a challenge, Chidema, Femi, Faith, please reach out to us and we will help you. Your success story is our own success story. And on this note, from me, thank you, Sandra, for this engaging and insightful session. Thank you so much, Femi. From me and from Samson and from the crew, the team of M Brand Consulting Limited, we say thank you so much and we wish you all a beautiful night rest. We will see you again next week, Thursday, same time, 7 p.m. to 7:45. Please start spreading it. Spread it. Tell people they are missing out that they are not here. We are high on training transfer effectiveness, and we are training transfer effectiveness advocates. Good night and have a good night rest. Thank you so much, everyone.